Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jay Dominguez the fourth here. A little late on that. Today I just received, that is the Rhino EVO 42-inch Pro with the Rhino Arc and Rhino Motion. Let's go unpack this bad boy. Thank you, Borrow Lenses. First we got to build it. So here it is, the Rhino Ultimate Bundle. What you don't know about this is, it is awesome. I want to thank Borrow Lenses. I am not sponsoring them. It's just a go-to company that I go to all the time. You're welcome. And they have, I gotta check on this. This could be outdated, so please check first before what I'm about to say, depending on when you're watching this video. Rhino has a deal with Borrow Lenses that if you want to try this out for free, that they will send this thing, the whole thing, like the motion controller, the Arc, 42-inch Pro. They'll send it out to you a rental for free. The catch is that if you like it, you go and buy this thing and they return your rental money back. If you don't like it, then whatever, just rent it. It didn't cost more than, I don't know, I forget. All right, so what do we have here? We have a 42-inch. This is called the EVO Pro, 42 inches. This is basically stainless steel, very durable, very heavy duty. They have the carbon version, 42 and 24. Here is the Arc. What does the Arc do? The Arc pans your camera left to right automatically. You can do it. You can program it as you're sliding and you want to keep a slide kept in one direction, or start here and then end there. Whatever your heart desires, that's what the Arc does. With this device, you program it and it does the motion for you, or panning for you. This right here is the, if I'm not mistaken, the motion. Motion connects to one end of the actual rig, and with these rubber pulleys right here, pulls smoothly to either direction. And if I'm not mistaken, the motion comes with the controller. This is the brain. This connects to the motion and then also connects to the Arc. So when you create a motion, this controls it. It is battery powered. This is battery powered. This is battery powered. This is controlled via Ethernet cable to the controller. There is a cable out to the Arc to communicate. And I'll show you guys the cable right now. Here is the Ethernet cable right here. I don't know if this is what comes with the actual bundle. I do plan on buying this set. I really like it. Probably not the 42, but I do plan buying the set motion with Arc. Maybe the smaller version, which is like 24 inches. And I probably do the carbon because in my opinion, even though this is a very steady, heavy, sturdy stainless steel, it's too heavy for me, but it's because I'm not going to be on set. I like to travel. I like to put my sliders on, you know, on rocks and trees and bushes and ledges and whatever. Like I said, 24 inches, about half the size, and that's enough motion for me. Going back to this Ethernet cable, not sure if this is what they give you. I think this may be Borrow Lenses, but Ethernet cable is very cheap. This is the communication cable between the controller and the actual Arc. Not sure if it comes with it, but here it is. And then you got your different communication cables to the Arc, to cameras. Nikon, this is Panasonic, Canon, and Sony. And I'm assuming this is to connect to a tripod. You wrap it, and then I'm guessing, I've never used this. Over here, we have charging cables for the motion control. This is for the Arc, and this is for the motion. Voila. All right, so let's put this together like we're gonna start using it. No, we're gonna start using it. Ready? All right, so what we do is we unlock the legs over here because we don't want this to be on the ground. Not sure y'all can see that. Don't mind the funny faces I make when I'm trying to assemble something. You should see me trying to assemble a glide cam or gimbal. That's probably not perfectly leveled, but we'll get to that soon. Note, make sure that after you assemble everything, you loosen this, because if you start to run the actual motions of this and it's pulling on this, you might just like ruin the belt or something out. This right here is to hold this left and right while you're trying to adjust. So not sure if you can see, but that is how it's supposed to look. You basically release the legs and you level it out. This one's slightly tilting. So what you do is you take this leg, you raise it up a little bit. Normally you can have a leveler, I think they call it torpedo leveler. Put it here. All right, next step is we take the motion and we put it on one end. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a little latch here that goes in here. No, that's the Ethernet. That goes in here, and make sure it just these two little bolts here are out, and it should snug in just fine. And if it doesn't go in, just kind of move it until it goes in, just like that. It's a square and it has to, you've played that game with circle, circle, square, square, triangle, you got it. So once you put that in there, you just tighten it up right here. These two screws tightens up so this doesn't come out. And then you take this, you connect the Ethernet cable to her, and then the other end to the bottom of this motion device thingy. Voila. You take your, so many cables. You take this cable, you connect it there, and then this is magnetic, so just push it right on there and it'll snap in. Voila. And then you take this cable and you connect it to your arc. This is self-explanatory. There's like little symbols on the arc. One has a symbol of a camera, DSLR, mirrorless camera. There's another one which looks like this device. It's a square with a knob. It looks like an old iPod. You connect this cable to the iPod looking thing. All right. Oh, by the way, just in case for you guys that don't know the reason why these cables exist, if you decide that you want to do time lapse, the arc or this one to connect, when you connect this to your camera, you can do time lapse. We're not doing time lapse today. So what you do is you release the arc, make sure it's loose. You turn on, there's only 2 buttons on this thing. I'm not gonna twist it around and show you guys, or maybe I should. Be right back. Let's save some electricity. There you go. All right, back to selfie mode. You guys can see this, bada bing. So, like I was saying, this thing has only 2 buttons. This button right here is to turn on Rhino motion, and then it's gonna ask you, this is to select dials. The first thing it's gonna ask you is what type of slider do you have? Do you have the Rhino SLider 24-inch EVO? Do you have the SLider EVO 42? You have the Rhino SLider V1 2-foot, Rhino SLider V1 4-footer. We have the EVO 42, and you hit select, and it gives you 3 options, and 3 options only is live motion, time lapse, and settings. Now, come join me over here. Before, and I say before, you go into settings, this is absolutely what you have to do first. You have to go into settings first, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn on your arc. And I'm not sure you can see this, but over here, you just press it for about 2 seconds. And then over here, it says, it's an LED panel here. It says not paired. Remember that. All right, so turn this back on and go to settings. And then on settings, you're going to see your options. And this is arc, and this arc's going to say off. Once you turn this on, that thing over there should say paired. And it does, it's paired. And then what I do is, this is just my settings. The motor is on the right. Yes, it is. The edge buffer, meaning is if you don't want the slider to go all the way to the edge, you can buffer it out for it to stop at about 2 inches. That's what I do. And then the frames per second, it kind of matches your frames per second for your camera. That's why I always have it at 24. That's what we're going to do today. And sound, if you are on set and you don't want this thing going off every time it finishes a motion or does something, then you turn it off. And then power save off, I leave it off because it turns off fairly quickly. And then if you want to update settings from your SD card, there's an SD card slot somewhere here on the right that you can maintain your settings, because sometimes you have different motions and you just want to save them. You can upload that, or you can update from the SD card. I think you can update firmware from the SD card too. I'm not 100% sure. So once the settings are all correct, you hit, this is basically a back button too, not just a power button. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set live motion. And then we either have the option to turn the wheel to slide, or we have the option to create a move. We're going to go create move. This is probably one of my cons. This cable tends to get in the way. So what you do is before you hit the next, which is ready to calibrate, and you say go, I don't want to do that yet, make sure that your cable is nice and not in the way, which is almost impossible, but I haven't had an issue yet. So when you hit go by pressing in on the big selector button, and the slider is going to go all the way to the right. Hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. What I forgot to do is, you guys want to see a camera in action, and I'm actually using the camera, so what I'm just going to do is put on the Canon 5D Mark IV. So here we go. Back to the setup here. Just to wake it up, just press the power button. Now it tells you right here, turn the wheel to point to point the camera. Before hitting set in, just rotate this. Once you rotate it, you are now controlling the arc. What this does is you're trying to point in your in to where you want the camera to point when it reaches this point of the slider. For example, I want to point it to, let's go to my ice maker. It's a little dark, so let's do some calibrations here. ISO, go to ISO 800, and there you go. Pointing my camera to the Frigidaire. So right there, when it comes to this point, it's going to be just pointing at that position. So once we're ready, we hit this button in, and it's going to go to the other side. All right, at this point, it's going to ask you, where do you want to point the camera again? Right now, I'm just pointing it back to, let's just do some random. Right now, as you can see, the camera is just like rotating. Just point it there. I have no idea what the hell it's pointing to, but you hit it again, and at this point, you have a bunch of settings before you launch. You have the first one is in, how many inches in. Basically in is this point at this end over here. This is the in point, that's the out point. And how many inches do you want the camera to stop before it hits the end point? And let's say we want to do 5 inches, and then move to in. It's going to come back all the way over here. It's going to literally stop 5 inches from the end point. Exactly. If I measure that out, I'm sure it's 5 inches. And then out point. How far do you want it to go out? And let's say we want to hit it out to the 30-inch mark. To test it out, you go down here and basically hit move to out. That's gonna go back out, just a test. And it should stop just inches. There you go. It just stopped 30 inches out. Even though this is a 42-inch slider, it doesn't measure the full 42 inches. And then duration, how long do you want this motion to go, the speed of it? At this point, you press N and you can make it go a minute long, all the way up to 5 minutes. That's the max. And you press it again, you go to the seconds. I know just to see a motion, let's pick 25 seconds. So it's going to take 25 seconds from the in to the out and the out to the in. The next is ramp, meaning how far do you want it to go? Well, this doesn't matter because we have our ins and outs set up. It basically is a buffer of 2 inches that we had set initially. And do you want to loop? And let's hit yes. And then you hit start. So here we go. I'm going to hit start. All right. When you hit start, it's just going to go to the end point, and then you have to go and press go, because it says start, but then you got to press go, meaning this is going to now start looping back in and out. See how slow it's going? Because I have it set for 24 seconds. A minute is super slow, and actually 5, it's just like watching paint dry. My opinion, this is very, very quiet. I'm hunting for rabbits. No, seriously, but this is a very quiet slider. I'm going to take off my lav mic so you can try to see if you can hear it. That's the arc moving. The motion, believe it or not, doesn't sound, you don't hear anything. Put my mic back on. Yeah, this thing is pretty sweet, and I think that once you guys get the hang of it, you can do a lot of creative stuff here. Right now the arc is pointing to my last destination point that I had it point to, which is nothing, but let's see where it goes. I have it on sleep mode. There's no camera card in there, so it should point to my frigid air, that thing over there. Right over there. Focus. All right. Let's keep refreshing the shutter. But now, as you can see, the arc is pointing to my frigid air ice maker and water dispenser. Beautiful. Exactly where I wanted to go. Yeah, this thing, in my opinion, is probably the most complete system that's out there. I've messed with a lot of sliders, and this is by far the easiest, convenient, and cheapest, plus durable. But this complete set here, we're talking about motion, which a motion comes with these two. That's 42-inch. This is the Pro, meaning that the Pro is just very solid. It's stainless steel, if I'm not mistaken. Really solid metal. Arc base, I'm not sure if you can see down there, but down there is where you can connect to your tripod, and it's always centered. This right here didn't come with it. This is mine. But all that right there you can get for about 1,800 bucks, with taxes probably close to $2,000. Yeah, so that was my review. And so what do I think about overall? Pros, very convenient, super sturdy, solid design. I've been around Kessler. I've tested out tons of sliders, and this right here is, to this day, my absolute favorite. I like the cost. A Kessler of this caliber would be about $3,000–4,000, and I just don't have that kind of money to be just spending and then forgetting about it. I doubt that when I buy this, I'm going to forget about it. It's very, very comfortable and not complex. As you can see, the controllers is just 1, 2, 3 steps and doesn't get more complicated than that. It does have option to time lapse. It has other options that I haven't explored yet, but as I get this in my hands as an owner of a Rhino SLider EVO 24, I don't need the 42-inch carbon. Carbon, once again, is just literally just the rods are carbon, lightweight. Carbon fiber is very solid type of material. It's very difficult to break. But yeah, my con for this, and this is just for you, a Rhino company, Rhino camera company. The cable from the Motion to the Arc is extremely annoying. I hope that one day you guys can design something where maybe the cable can run underneath the rods perfectly. I could do that myself. I'd probably take a few tie wraps, run it underneath perfectly to where it, even that, it might be complicated. It might get stuck. Like right now, it just got stuck on the wheel and it made like a jittering noise. That's the first time that it happens to me. I've used this thing twice. I love that it's battery powered. The battery lasts a while. As you can see, the controller still has that full battery. The Arc is a little dead, but I used the piss out of the Arc the day that I did use it. I love it. Only con. The only con is that you can have some sort of wireless communication to and from the Motion into the Arc. And then I think I'll be a super happy cinematographer. Well, that is what I think of the Rhino SLider EVO 42-inch with Motion and Arc. What do you guys think? Please comment below. Please like, please subscribe. Don't care what you say, I'll comment back, negative or positive. I want to hear your feedback of what do you think of my review? What do you think about this device? And yeah, this is J. Dominguez IV signing out. Thank you.